I am glad to report that I have finally finished the drawing stage of this painting. I'm not sure that you can see all of that, but it's all done in watercolor pencil, mostly browns, and I've had to do several parts several times, so I've wiped out things like, do you see that wheel in the middle there, because I raised up the table and all kinds of things. Anyway, so that is done, and I'm finally ready to go to the next stage, which is going to be beginning actually the painting process. And the first thing I'm going to do is paint in BeeGee's face. So as you can see, especially if you've watched any of my other videos, this, at least at the moment, this approach to painting is quite different from the way I usually approach a painting. I usually am, in the early stages, fairly recklessly throwing wild splotches of color around, because the most important aspect of a painting is not that it look like a thing. The most important aspect is that the marks that the human hand makes, my hand, that the marks be interesting. And we could talk for a long time about what makes interesting marks, but I'll save that for another time. Fluid, flexible, varied, and so forth. And as you can see, I'm certainly not I'm very focused on making interesting marks at the moment, and there's a reason for that. The presence of portraiture rearranges the priorities for painting. The normal priority for painting is, the most important thing is play of light, second thing is composition, third is texture, fourth is color, and fifth is representation or rendering or similitude, whichever those words you like. That is, that the thing look like the thing. However, when it comes to what I'll call real portraiture, and I'm not talking about expressionist portraiture, but a portrait that, you know, a normal person would be happy to hang on their living room wall because it looks like normal portraiture. There's a change of order, and in portraiture, number 5 becomes number 1, and number 5 was similitude, rendering, and I think that is quite makes sense, that the most important aspect of a portrait is that the portrait look like the person it's supposed to be a portrait of. So I started this painting in with that in mind. The most important thing, I don't get paid, my job's not done if BeeGee doesn't look like BeeGee. So it changes the way I begin the painting. Now here's what I have to do, because in the final analysis, the most important aspect of a painting is, next to similitude, the next most important is play of light, composition, texture, color, and so on. So in a way I'm going to work backwards. I've got him roughed in, he's taken care of. Now I go kind of back to my more conventional, and he needs to look like he was done by the same hand, so I'm doing him fairly carefully, even though he's not literally a portrait, he's just a generic character. but he needs to look like he fits with BeeGee, so I'm treating him in a very similar manner that is fairly tight brush strokes. But now I'm going to back up, if you will, and proceed to paint the rest of the painting in a way that is more conventional to me, a little bit freer, but all that held in tension with the realism of BeeGee's portrait. In fact, when I've done a series of these, as you may know. This is my 8th one, I think, or 9th or 10th, I can't remember. I've done 8 or 7 or 8 or 9. Now I've done at least 8, so I've done 9 or 10 of these already. And when I was putting them on my website, I in fact had a hard time deciding where to put them, whether to put them in I put them in portrait category, of course, but beyond that I was wondering, should I characterize it as an illustration? Because in a sense that is very much what it is. It's actually an illustration of BeeGee in this case, in the context of a painting. Well, I've rambled enough. I'm going to back up now, grab some big brushes, and start doing some painting that I enjoy and I'm a little bit more familiar with, or is a more common method for me to paint. And you're welcome to watch.